This week on Israeli Salad, high school students in the cockpit. Thousands come to help people sick with cancer. A card game featuring Arafat and Ahmad Yassin. Understanding the Havdalah and the miracles that brought musician Dani Dorel closer to Judaism. Let's get started. Shalom. Most of the people you'll meet if you come to the Herzliya airport are people with enough money to spend on expensive flight courses and sometimes even on buying themselves their own airplanes. I drove over to the Herzliya airport to meet a group of teenagers who come from a totally different segment of society. At the Avia Flight School in Herzliya, a group of students from the Amal High School in Lud came for their first hands-on flight lesson. The after-school educational programs are aimed at helping improve the lives of students from weaker sectors. As part of these programs, the Amal School decided to teach their students to fly.
We
decided to start a new course that will give the students motivation to learn, make them feel more involved, improve their self-esteem, let them believe in themselves, and feel relevant like others.
We thought to take kids to fly. Kids in most cases it's not will be part of their schedule, and it's not something that it's common for them. And as a matter of fact, it's even very far from the ability.
In Israel, being a pilot is considered very high class, especially because of the prestige of Israel's Air Force. The slogan of the Air Force expresses the attitude towards those who sit in the cockpit.
The slogan, "The finest to aviation," says it all. When a kid sees that he's able to fly a plane, it can do a lot.
They will feel that they are able to do. They will see that they are able to fly an aircraft like everybody can do.
My dream is to be a pilot.
Most of the teachers in the course are volunteers. The students learn the relevant issues in mathematics, English, physics, and meteorology. The goal is that at the end of the course, they will not only have better self-esteem and motivation, but also an official permit to fly.
A student that is today in 10th grade and will continue learning seriously for 3 years may end up with a pilot's license.
This course, which is an absolute treat, comes with serious obligations.
They can't only come and fly, they have to study much more in order to be a part of this project.
And the students, they're having the time of their lives.
It was very fun. I flew the plane on my own. The pilot that's teaching us didn't touch the controls. I did it all myself. It's a dream. What did I see? Views, homes, people. The cars look like bugs from up high.
In the beginning, I had to throw up, but I didn't throw up. I felt like fainting, but I didn't faint. When I got off the plane, my feet were shaking, but now I'm okay. I've recovered.
So how are the students?
Students are very good. They have a lot of enthusiasm for flying. They were very excited, but despite that, they flew very nice. They felt well during the whole flight. And the pilot, Moti, flew very nicely and brought us to a safe landing back to Herzliya Airport.
The view from above is beautiful. You gotta go up. You gotta fly. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. You can't miss it.
I'm jealous of these kids to have this program in this age.
Okay, now that I'm sure that they all landed safely, we can end this report. We'll be back in the studio right after this.
You are watching Israel National News TV.
On Tuesday, March 23rd, a nationwide campaign aimed at finding potential bone marrow donors took place. The campaign was organized by the Ezer Mitzion organization, which helps people who are sick with cancer. About 25,000 potential donors were added to Ezer Mitzion's international database. The donors gave blood samples at the Ezer Mitzion booths throughout the country, and the samples were then flown to LA for testing. El Al, by the way, helped this campaign by flying the blood samples to the U.S. for free. Shlomo Blas visited one of the locations where this campaign was taking place and met many people who came to see if maybe they can help those who are still waiting for the right donor.
I think people just want to help. I think people just want to be able to give some blood that might be a match for somebody in need.
It's good. We're saving lives.
All the blood samples that will be taken today all over Israel will go into a international bank, which will help identify bone marrow, which can help people from all over the world.
I came to the mall with my friend. We saw the stand, so we said, let's come over and donate.
There were people who came to give blood who were medics, and they ended up taking blood because there was such a large number of people that came to donate.
So, is this a scary process?
No, actually it's not. It's quite simple, just a stab, a little pain and that's it. It's gone.
The miracle will happen, and miracles happen even in this day and age. And please God, with the help of Ezer Mitzion and all these wonderful people who are giving their blood, we're going to save some lives.
On Monday, March 22nd, IDF helicopters killed arch-terrorist Ahmed Yassin. For people who own these two decks of cards, this elimination is also part of their game. These decks of cards feature Palestinian terrorists. One deck displays the names and pictures of all the top wanted terrorists, and the second deck displays the same names and pictures, but every card is stamped as eliminated. Whenever one of the terrorists is taken out by the Israeli or American forces, you update the first deck by removing the terrorist card and replacing it with the matching eliminated card from the second deck. Simple. More about these cards at the following site: www.terrorists-playing-cards.com. Now, before we go over to Dani Dorel, the singing storyteller, it's time for our weekly insight. At the end of Shabbat, families gather together for the short Havdalah ceremony, which marks the end of this holy day. I am now joined by Rabbi David Sampson from Jerusalem. Shalom, Rabbi Sampson.
Shalom, Yoni.
So what's the meaning of the Havdalah?
Havdalah is a very interesting ceremony. I'd like to tell you a story about a rabbi who went to South America. And there he had a muchacha, a girl who helped him in the house. And the first Shabbat after he did the Havdalah with the candle and the spices, she was sure that he was involved in black magic, ran away and never agreed to clean his house again. The idea behind the Havdalah is a very simple concept, and that is making a ceremony to separate between the Shabbat and the weekdays. It includes aside from wine, which is the officiating beverage of ceremony, it includes a candle. And that is because fire was first created on Motzoi Shabbat. After Shabbat, this is when fire was first created, and this is where we thank God for the fact that we have fire. So we light a candle and thank God for fire. And we also have spices because as Shabbat leaves, so also the extra soul that a person gains on Shabbat also leaves his body. So to kind of recuperate from the loss of soul, we sniff spices. And we recite all of this together with Havdalah, separation between Shabbat and weekday.
Thank you very much, Rabbi Sampson. When we return, we'll be with musician Dani Dorel, who came closer to Judaism after experiencing what he believes to be miracles.
The Weekly Insight is brought to you in cooperation with Machon Meir, the largest Zionist institute in Israel, bringing people closer to Judaism.
Okay, we're now joined by Dani Dorel. Shalom, Dani. So, how could I define you? A storyteller, a singer, a musician?
Everything. I'm a musician and a storyteller.
So, what's the story?
Well, goes back quite a while, back 20 years at least, maybe 25 years, when I was only 18 years old, living in Sydney, Australia. I wasn't religious, but my head was only in one place, playing music, and I was not interested in anything else. Amazing events that happened to me in 1 week changed my mind. I think it would have changed anybody's mind. My girlfriend, my best friend, and myself, all three of us had a story that all three of us basically should have been killed, according to natural events. But unnaturally, we all came out of it basically unscathed. And since these three things happened all in 1 week, I had no choice but to really think about it, what's happening. Such miracles, why they're happening to me.
So what happened to your best friend?
Well, basically, we were at a camp. He hyperventilated and he went underwater. And we couldn't find him. The problem was, it was basically mud water. You couldn't see. Unfortunately, there was a young Israeli boy there. And after a while, he found the body of my best friend, who at that stage was he wasn't breathing yet, no heartbeat. And then one of the advisors did a mouth-to-mouth. And suddenly he started breathing again. And we gave him oxygen, and then he just woke up, and he looked at us, and he said, "What's going on? Why is everyone standing here like this?" And he didn't believe us. And that's it. He came back to life. That was an amazing miracle.
Now, how soon after did you feel that God is connected to all this? And why don't you think it's just a coincidence?
That's a very interesting question, because at the time I thought it was just an amazing thing that happened, We all went home and told our parents, and everyone talked about it. But, things happen like that. It's not like something like this never happened. We all heard of clinical death, and people can be very lucky. I guess I just kept it in my mind. I didn't realize in that same week there would be another 2 stories like that, and I didn't realize it would happen to me either. So I sort of just kept it in my memory. I didn't really think of anything religious about it at the time.
And what happened to your other friend?
After the camp, we went to the railway station to say goodbye to half of the camp. And one of the advisors, Rachel, she ran with the window, and she fell on the train with the 2 hands like this, onto the train. The train swiveled her around, and unfortunately she fell right between the train and the platform, underneath the train. At the last second, she sort of curved herself towards the wall. She stayed next to the wall, and the whole train drove by, and she was alive. She fainted, but she was alive. She had plastic surgery, and she came out with just a basic scar. So that was the second story, and it was already starting to be difficult to be apathetic to what was going on. I realized, look, things like this happen, but why is this happening to me twice? If there is a God, is He sending me a message that life is precious, and you should spend your time on meaningful things, and not just do what you feel like for pleasure? It made me start thinking. But it's a sad thing to say. Some people can be very stubborn, and only when things happen to them, they really start to make tshuva, to make repentance, to think, oh no, it could happen to me, Only when it happens to you. I was with someone like that. I said, okay, happened to my best friend, happened to her, bad luck. מיין יבוא עזרי, עזרי עם השם, עושה שמיים וארץ.
And then it came closer to you.
And then it came closer, then it happened to me. That's the third story I always tell. That's also the story that I find hardest to tell, because every time I tell it, it reminds me, how life is unpredictable, and how you never know, because when this happened to me, till the second before, I didn't know it was going to happen. I was driving in my car, and the guy coming from my left, he should have stopped. But for some reason, he didn't see the stop sign. And just at the last second we met, with no brakes at all. And that's it. He drove into me, the front of my car. His front went into my front. And the cars collided 5 times. The front in the front and the back in the back. Like, pow, 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 5 times. I got out of the car with my friend. All the front was mashed up and all the back of the car was mashed up. And where I was sitting was just perfect, complete. Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha, ivdu et Hashem b'simcha, bo v'nabil nana, v'nabil nana. Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha, ivdu et Hashem b'simcha, bo v'nabil nana, v'nabil nana.
So how did you feel then?
First of all, I was very scared because I realized I don't have control of my own life. Well, that's a philosophical question, but I don't have the basic control of my life. And I also felt that, if there's a God, He's showing me how accurately He can bring me to death. He can make me meet death, it's supposed to say. I felt like I'd met death 3 times. Mr. Death, I met him 3 times in 1 week. And each time he said, I'll give you another chance, It's my best friend, my girlfriend, and then me. And it's a weird feeling, It's a feeling like, maybe I don't deserve this. So many people got killed. So many people are being killed. Why did I get another chance? I got so close to death. I saw it. I smelt it. It doesn't even make sense. I tell this story all over Israel at high schools, and I think it's fair. They don't believe me. They say, did you make up the story? I go, no. But I understand. That's basically a compliment to the story, isn't it? Because it is unbelievable, but this is what happened to me.
And then you got closer to Judaism?
That's interesting. I didn't really get close to Judaism. You can't get close to Judaism through a miracle. I think even Bnei Israel, when they came out of Egypt, the miracles were, they were great, the side effects. But the real emunah, the belief in God, it's a day-to-day thing that you have to acquire. But I did decide to check out Judaism as a fair, I said to God, okay, I'm not going to go to America and play jazz my whole life. I'm going to go and check out Judaism first. So I went to yeshiva in Israel, asked about 1,000 questions, and I got about 500 answers. And now I know about 700 answers. Life's just one big question, lots of questions. You can't know everything, but ever since these things happened to me, I feel like I owe God a favor, for keeping me alive.
Now, how about music? You stayed connected to music.
Yeah, I couldn't give up music. I didn't want to give up music. As I got older, I realized that music is not the end, it's the means to an end. Music is a way of making people happy. It's a way of getting a message across. It's the way of coming closer to people. It's a way of feeling togetherness. It's definitely a very, very big vessel to do things. And I use it as a vessel. I don't believe in the music in itself.
Okay, Danny, we'll end with some tunes. So what are you going to play for us now?
I'm going to play a nigun called Nigun of Yirmiyahu. It's a big hit today. I like it.
So that's all for this week. Join us again next week. Until then, shalom. Danny?
Hi nai nai na na nai 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 na 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 nai 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 na nai 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 na na nai ai nai nai na na nai 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 na 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 nai 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 na nai 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 na na nai ai na nai nai na 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 nai ai na nai nai na 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 na, ah na 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 na, ah na 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 na, ay na na, ah na 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 na, na na ni na 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 na, ah na 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 ay na 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 na, ay na 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 ay na. Na 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 ay na ni ni na ay na 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 ay na 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 oh la lo ay na na ay na 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 ay na na na